The book I will be reading today from Miss Rebecca's Reading Corner is The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. I simply adore him. And if you haven't read the Wizard of Oz series, you should. Chapter 1, The Cyclone. Dorothy lived in the midst of the great Kansas prairies with Uncle Henry, who was a farmer, and Aunt Em, who was the farmer's wife, and Toto, who was a little black dog that Dorothy loved dearly. Their house was small, for the lumber to build it had to be carried by the wagon many miles. There were 4 walls, a floor, and a roof, which made one room. There was no storage area at all, and no cellar, except a small hole dug in the ground, called a cyclone cellar, where the family could go in case a mighty whirlwind arose. It was reached by a trap door in the middle of the floor. A ladder led down into the small dark hole. Today Uncle Henry sat upon the doorstep and looked anxiously at the sky, which was even grayer than usual. Dorothy stood in the door with Toto in her arms and looked at the sky too. Aunt Em was washing the dishes. From the far north, they heard a low wail of the wind, and Uncle Henry and Dorothy could see where the long grass bowed in waves before the coming storm. Suddenly, Uncle Henry stood up. "There's a cyclone coming, Em," he called to his wife. "Quick, Dorothy!" Aunt Em screamed. "Run for the cellar!" Toto jumped out of Dorothy's arms and hid under the bed, and the girl started to get him. Aunt Em, badly frightened, threw open the trap door in the floor and climbed down the ladder into the small dark hole. Dorothy caught Toto at last and started to follow her aunt. When Dorothy was halfway across the room, there came a great shriek of the wind, and the house shook so hard that she lost her footing and sat down suddenly upon the floor. Then a strange thing happened. The house whirled around 2 or 3 times and rose slowly through the air. Dorothy felt as if she were going up in a balloon. It was very dark, and the wind howled horribly around her. But Dorothy found she was riding quite easily. After the first few whirls around, she felt as if she were being rocked gently like a baby in a cradle. In spite of the swaying of the house and the wailing of the wind, Dorothy soon closed her eyes and fell fast asleep. Well, that's the first chapter of The Wizard of Oz. I hope you enjoy the rest of the book. Have a great day, guys.